Hiya, my name is Dane Smith, and this is my Wally recorded Whitebox level for my GAN 1004. So the player will start off in this room by themselves with just a cube. This is just so the player can get a feel for what the cube does. You can push the cube around in the area. As you can see, it's not too hard to push, but also it's not too easy to push. I've made it so the player will only have this first level or area, as you would say, just here, just so they can familiarize themselves with the core mechanic of the game. So the aim would be to push this cube onto the purple area, which is over here, which the player is now over on. Once they do that, this little beam area here will actually be a door. So the door will come down, which will allow the player to proceed into the next area of the junkyard. So as you can see, looking around, there's different cranes and there's different junk piles which fit into my Wally themed, as Wally is based on Earth, where Earth has been not overpopulated. Well, it's been overpopulated, and the humans have made so much rubbish that they can no longer live on Earth. So what I've done is I've added lots of piles of cylinders which include junk. I've got dirt piles and mound and trash piles. I've got cranes in the background which are actually digging up the dirt further up. But I'll explain that when we go forward. The next step for the player would be parkour or platforming. They'll be platforming through these cranes which are hanging and suspending these platforms. Later on in the levels, there will be moving cranes, which demonstrate how the player will have to platform across. But these cranes are for moving junk from the junkyard out to make it so the earth is neater and to compact it and compile it into cubes, like the cube that the player pushes around. That's why I've chosen Wally as another thing, because I thought my toy cube could be an actual rubbish cube which Wally creates out of his chest in the film. And I thought if I could imply that into the game with an animation, that would be good, but I don't have time for that. So if going forward came back to the project, I definitely had an animation of that happening. The player will parkour through all of these steps coming up here. They will then jump on this crane here, on this junk pile, then onto the other crane, and so on and so forth. They will then do it by parkouring across all of these platforms, and there'll be a cube up there which the player will then push down onto this floor, and then they will need to put it onto this purple area here. This will then unlock this third area for the player to get to. So, as I was speaking previous about the dirt and junk building crane digging up, as you can see, this is the crane that I've built. It demonstrates that the junk is being destroyed as you take it, or being collected and then loaded over to the junkyard to be transported on the cranes. So, as the player will move forward, there will be a junk pile in the corner for them to jump onto, which will then get them onto this platform, which will then be able to be moving for the player to get across. So the player will jump from this platform to this platform. This platform where the player is underneath here will go up, where there'll be two more platforms where the player will jump up to the top of the level and push the cube down. The cube will then fall down and hit here, and that will be the end of the level. I've added up here a collectible. Obviously, I brought it lower down to obviously see it. I've added it as a sphere. The collectible I did draw would be the plant boot, which you find in Wally. I've done this so it fits in with the game. It's nice, and you can progress through the levels then. Because I thought if you get this collectible, you could then progress through to different levels, and different levels could have different collectibles in the film. So they go to the space station. There could be a space station themed collectible and so forth. In the background of this area, I've done the same thing. I've got more dirt and more cranes. These hills in the background are meant to be like mounds of junk, which are boxing in the player in the area. Um, but yeah, thank you for listening.